Ooh, oh, guess what? We finally made it. We are back from the dead, better than ever. Lazarus and Loki here with you tonight. Late night. We're going to tell stories of long since retired football experts who probably wouldn't get any of the picks right this week. But for now, you're just going to be stuck with me, Nick Sisson, and my good buddy over here, Matt Evans of Evans Rankings. If you've been with us all season long, you know that we're mediocre at best, and we promise to disappoint at times.
Yep.
Matt, how are
all
you?
the time. I'm great. I'm settled in at the hotel. I'm a mile north of Husky Stadium right now. I'm raring to go for the next couple of days. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So, yeah, you took the trip over today and you made it in safely. That's good. Did you have any wild encounters on the way? See any, nice wildlife? Or you were mentioning to me you ran into maybe some competitors for this weekend as well.
Yeah. So as I was checking in, the hotel here, I found out that the gentleman at the front was telling me that there were two high school teams here, and I was like, oh, I wonder who it is. And as I was walking down to my room, I saw some Liberty Christian shirts, and I was like, all right, there's one. And then found out through word of mouth that Wilbur Creston Keller's here too. So we've got pretty much everybody who's represented from the east side over here is staying at this hotel tonight.
Wilbur Creston and Keller.
All of them.
I like that. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Wilbur and Creston are here. I think Keller's at the Days Inn. I'm just
Keller. That would be a damn travesty, Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, I'm really glad that we were able to at least get together for, however long this goes. I mean, I don't know. It's 9:47 Pacific time right now. Most everything that we talk around here is in Pacific time. But yeah, you got there safely and are going to be there 3-dimensionally. I got to tell you, I'm pretty jealous about that. I'd like to be there myself, but I got a job and a family as well, so I kind of have to do that every now and then. But I'm very happy to spend some time with the family. I've been gone literally all day. My poor wife is like, she made a great dinner and came home, just got done with the R.A. Longseaton Catholic game, and I had to tell her I'm jumping on here to do this, and I feel bad, honestly. But yeah,
we'll make sure that we send flowers.
We're winding down the season, and I was thinking, I don't know, she probably won't like this. Sorry, honey, but I was thinking that maybe we can come back next week to close everything out for football. Maybe we can get a couple of coaches to come on and that want to talk about their team's journey. Obviously, we're talking probably state championship winning coaches. No ill feelings towards those that finished second this weekend. That's still very impressive. But I don't know what you would think about doing something like that or not. If you got the time to carve out, I will be probably free Wednesday because I got a couple basketball games next week on Tuesday.
That's right. Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know.
Wednesday's definitely a good day.
Okay. Well, yeah. So we're in the fold here. We got football finishing up this weekend, and then basketball started over the weekend, last weekend, and this week down here. Monday was the first game between Mountain View and Mark Morris for me, and then tonight I got a chance to see Seton Catholic taking on R.A. Long, and that was an interesting matchup, stylistically. And, it's just kind of the difference between being a 1A school and a 2A school. You have a little bit more depth. When you're talking like top 10 schools, that the depth really matters. R.A. Long was missing their big guy tonight who was sick, and 6'8", big contributor. And for them to win the game, tonight was pretty impressive. And Seton Catholic has just an absolute man-child in Caden Wilson. So, I mean, that was a really fun game to watch. I don't know if you had a chance to catch any of it. Probably not, because you were driving and getting drunk with Wilbur Creston and Keller.
I'll have to tell you off air about my light rail experience tonight.
Oh, good. I'm sure it was very Seattle-ish, if you know what I mean.
Well, let's just say it was more Texas, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's do it. Well, I pulled up the 1B bracket first here.
Yep.
And who do I see at the top of this bracket? I see Matt Evans, Skip Smith, and Coach Marshall Hart. And the way it breaks down here is that you and Coach Hart have a chance to tie for first place because you've both got Liberty Christian. But Skip has Wilbur Creston and Keller, and he could win the standalone 1B championship. And I'm not really far behind here either. I mean, I thought that my 1B bracket was pretty good. I'm in fifth, tied, I guess, with Untitled. Shout out Untitled. But I got Liberty Christian winning, so the best I could do is come 1 point behind you and Coach Marshall Hart. So that was depressing to learn.
Well, I can lift your spirits and tell you that there are 4 possibilities of you winning the whole thing.
So, good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That means I got a pretty good shot?
6.3% chance to win the whole thing.
Okay. All right. You talk about overall brackets?
Overall, yeah. The whole, like the 15, the 15 of us who did all 6 brackets.
Well, hopefully Matt King's not one that can finish higher than me.
He's got a better chance to beat you.
Oh. Well, let's talk a little bit about the 1B bracket here and how we got to this point. Liberty Christian and Wilbur Creston Keller set to do battle. Wilbur Creston Keller is in this position here for the second straight season. And the Patriots of Liberty Christian, off the top of my head, I'm not sure when the last time was that they played for a state championship. You might know that, but
2012, I think it's 2012, 2017, somewhere in there. It's one of the John Lester years.
Okay.
John Lester years. I'll look it up real quick.
Liberty Christian got here by defeating Elmira Cooley Heartline 36-28. I figured that would be a really tough test in a 1-4 matchup there between those two teams. And the game on the opposite side for Wilbur Creston Keller, Nacelle actually started out pretty strong in that game, but by the end of it, WCK figured out a way to just do a little bit more than Nacelle, and they end up walking away with a 24-point win at 52-28. I think that this was the most consensus bracket out of all of them, and other than maybe how the 3A worked out, because I think predominantly everybody had the Final Four that we saw. Not everyone, but in this bracket, almost everybody went chalk here with Liberty Christian, Wilbur Creston Keller, outside of a few outliers here. But coming into this game here, who do you think has the advantage, Matt? Is it the 1 seed Liberty Christian, or is it Wilbur Creston Keller, who, even though they're the 2 seed, they've got the more recent experience here in this game?
This game is going to be a really intriguing game to watch for me because it really is 2 great offenses. And I think this game is going to come down to who makes multiple defensive stops, if anybody makes multiple defensive stops, and who has the ball last. Because in all honesty, I mean, Wilbur Creston Keller has run for like 5,000 yards this year. Like legitimately, they've run for 5,000 yards as a team. And they're getting 400, 500 yards a game on top 8 teams. So they know how to run the ball. They know how to move the ball. And Liberty Christian's defense is pretty solid as well. They've held a lot of high scoring offenses to minimal points this year. As for Liberty Christian, they're more of a balanced offense, really. They Charlie Branning is an amazing running back, but he's not. It's not a one-trick pony like it has been for them in the past, where it's been, having a really, really good quarterback and some solid receivers, but no running game, or having a really good running back and not having a passing game. They have both. They really are a good balanced team. So, in all honesty, I think it's going to come down to the defenses. I think it's going to be who can step up and who can have the positive result when they don't have the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And, defense rules the roost, and especially in championship Fridays and Saturdays. And when you got 8-man football being played, I mean, you don't see too many games under 60 points combined, from these types of teams. And especially when you got as high-powered offenses as you're going to see to go along with these defenses. I mean, Elmira Cooley Heartline, they gave Nia Bay a real great defensive test, only allowing 12 points to a really good team. And Liberty Christian ends up coming back the next week and puts 36 on them. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot for 1B, but to me, that's telling how efficient that Liberty Christian can be on both sides of the ball as well. And but both these games were pretty tough. I look at the way that we got here. I think Liberty Christian has played just a little bit more tough competition on the upper side of the bracket. Nia Bay being a 5 seed, I think that you might agree with me that might be a little low compared to how they actually play on the field. And then on the other side, I'm not saying Nacelle is not a deserving 3 seed, but once Wilbur Crescent Keller was able to figure some things out, they ended up making it a little bit easier than it really was. But Pomeroy also a good team, but I mean, if you look at the other side with ACH and DeSales, I think Liberty Christian is just a little bit more battle tested to this point. And I don't know if Wilbur Crescent Keller has enough. The experience factor, though, might help them here, having been there last season. And being so close to it and then coming just a little bit short, we're seeing it with Tumwater, a motivational factor. I don't know if WCK's got signs of the final last year against Liberty Bell hung up around the school, but you got to imagine that they're coming here on a business trip looking to take the championship home with them. If you had to put a percentage on this game in terms of giving WCK a percentage shot of winning it, where would you be at? Do I still got you, Matt? Matt's frozen in time.
If I was, there he is. I'm talking.
Sorry.
Okay. I would say 55-45. My internet's starting to get wonky.
You're okay.
There we go. I think I'm back. I would go 55-45 WCK percentage wise. I think that the rushing attack, if you control the clock like they do, I think that's ultimately the thing that's going to win you a state championship. Is that having that awesome running game. Come on, Hotel.
You're okay. Yeah, it's all good. We're working with what we're working with here, That's the way it is.
Yes. I gotta close everything else down. Okay.
That's okay. This comment section's awfully quiet tonight.
I don't blame him. It's almost 10 o'clock.
It's a school night.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's a school night too. But it's going to be a close game, but I think it's going to come down to the defenses, and I would probably lean towards Wilbur Crescent Keller, to be honest with you, just because of that offense,
So real quick, to finish it out, I picked Liberty Christian in the bracket. You picked Liberty Christian in the bracket. I went back and checked preseason. I had Wilbur Crescent Keller winning the championship. So I feel pretty good about them being in it based on what I thought preseason. Having gotten to this point now, do either of us want to change our picks? Because I had Nacelle winning in the semis. I still feel good with Liberty Christian as I thought going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think as an analyst, I try not to change my picks. I'm gonna stick with Liberty Christian. Though I think that I probably would favor WCK. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with them. The school's 3 miles from my house. Coach is a really good friend of mine. I'm gonna stick with them.
Well, that makes it an easy decision then, honestly. All right, so let's move on up a class real quick. I did run a poll, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. It was on Sunday back all that time ago. And I put the 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A games as to which game you are most excited about, only because the poll only allowed me to do 4 options. I would have included this option as well. Napavine taking on Okanagan. Matt, you got a chance to see Napavine last week when they played Asotin. And
yes, I did.
Napavine, I'm not saying that they've quietly gotten here. All right. I don't think that's necessarily the best way to phrase it. But a little under the radar. I really don't think that everybody really gave Napavine the respect that they were due because they were so focused on where they were seated. They really didn't care about who they played in the body of work. And I'll say it right now. After seeing Life Christian take on Seton Catholic and come a point short of winning that game, and then seeing Montesano as well against Seton Catholic, listen, Napavine losing to two semifinalists, yeah, right, man. I mean, those are both really good teams, you know? So I think you really got to give Napavine some credit despite losing the two games that they did. And Okanagan, they just continue to dominate teams, and they make it easy to pick them. I really am looking forward to the way that this game plays out. Tell me what you saw a little bit in person from the Napavine Tigers taking on the Asotin Panthers.
I'll tell you, I'll be the first to admit that I underestimated them. I was very impressed on all facets of the ball, all sides of the ball. Grady Wilson, there were some times where quarterback, takes a snap, rolls out to the right, and defense is following him and stuff, and he's got, he looks up and everybody's covered, and he just has the wherewithal to just spin on a dime, turn back around, and get 10, 15 yards running up the sidelines on the other side. What's his name? The wide receiver, Denault.
Carson Denault.
Yeah. I mean, he's got great hands. I watched a couple of catches of his that I was not thinking they were going to be catches, and he just was able to get his hands up there and just snag it. And they were fast, they were physical. That was the other thing about that game that was just wild, is just how hard hitting it was, considering the level of football. The 2B level, you don't necessarily look at it and think it's going to be hard hitting football, but man, there were some times where Napavine would hit the quarterback for Asotin, and man, I'd be on the sideline shaking because I felt it. And it just, I couldn't imagine taking those hits and then getting up and trying to run a play again in 25 seconds. But yeah, Napavine, I completely agree with you. I think that people totally underestimated them, and they really did very well deserving of that 3 seed. Now if I could tell seeding committee Sunday, Matt, what I know now, I'd be like, don't say anything about Napavine. They absolutely deserve the 3 seed. Sure.
I mean, at this point, based on results, you can easily say that they're at least the second best team. I mean, they didn't get to this game in a fluky manner. A ball didn't bounce a right way for them. They've gone out and taken it to their opponents. I mean, just look at the games that they've put together on the defensive side of the ball alone here, Matt. And this is where the game's going to be won. 52-0 over Columbia Burbank. 46-6 against Adna, and they played Adna earlier this year in Napavine, and it was 27-13. So improvement there. 23-8 over Asotin. So they've allowed a combined 14 points in 3 playoff games, and this isn't even talking about anything before this round here. So
well, and I'll tell you too, their defense was the key to this game. The win over Asotin there. That game was going to be 0-0 going into halftime. Asotin was driving the ball down the field with about a minute to go, and they were looking like they were going to punch the ball in, and then Napavine pick 6 right at the stroke of halftime that completely changed the momentum of that game. I was standing there with a couple of other media folks, and we were both looking. We were all talking to each other like, man, this is a huge drive right here. If Asotin scores, man, this could totally turn the tide of this game. And then very next play was the pick 6, and we all just looked at each other like, oh, it was just. And from there, Napavine just took off, and the offense started clicking, and they hammered it down more defensively, and yeah, it's just. It's going to be, that game is going to be very, very fun to watch. I've watched them with play against a big quarterback last week, but Carter Kuchenbach's a completely different animal. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do this week against Okanagan. Tomorrow, Saturday against Okanagan.
Yeah, just to jump in real quick here, going back to the Okanagan Freeman, that was the closest game Okanagan's played since the championship game against Napavine last season. And, we knew Freeman was tough coming into this game. That's for sure. I think that, the who beats who matches up well formula, I think it really goes a long way here in Napavine's corner. I like what the potential of them being able to keep this kind of a lower scoring game. Mm-hmm. In order to beat Okanagan, they're going to have to allow less than 30 points, at least less than 30. I don't think that they're going to be going into a shootout situation with these guys. I think that they're going to have to realistically be hopeful of like a 24, 27-ish points allowed and see if they can't just score one more extra point, one more 2-point conversion. I got a feeling that if there was an odds spread for this game, I'd be like Okanagan -3, somewhere in that range. I'm thinking this is going to be a real close battle here.
Yeah, I do too. I think the biggest key is going to be limiting the amount of times that Okanagan gets the ball. Napavine's going to want to. I mean, they do have a good passing game. They have a decent run game, but they're going to need to, keep that clock moving and control how much Okanagan gets to attack them.
Preseason, Matt, I had Okanagan Napavine Part 3 in the championship game. I did veer off of that, and I subbed in Asotin just kind of based on how the season played out, and I was wrong on that front. But at the same time, I'm not disappointed in myself for choosing Asotin. I think that they were a very good team all year long and very deserving of where they ended up, especially winning such a very tough league in Northeast Bi-County. But I picked Okanagan to beat Napavine preseason. I picked Okanagan to win the championship here. I'm not going to veer away from that now. I will stick with the Bulldogs of Okanagan. Last year, the score was, I think, 27-24, I want to say, Okanagan. I'm thinking Okanagan 31-24.
Let's see. What did I say the score was going to be? There we go. I went 30-28 Napavine in this one. I just, I think this one, I think this is the best one, the best chance to go to overtime, in my opinion.
Sure. That and the Camas Sumner game, I'll save a little bit for that. That's going to be a great game. Speaking of overtime, there was some of that last week. You don't see that very often in the playoffs, but we had a chance to do it. So far, we're both on Liberty Christian, and you are on Napavine, and I'm on Okanagan. So a little bit of a difference there. So let's move up
for
to
the record.
one.
For the record, I went Liberty Christian 50. Overcrest 8.
I wasn't expecting a shutout between Archbishop Murphy and Tumwater, says Jake. Yeah, well, you and a lot of other people probably weren't expecting a shutout. I think a lot of people were expecting Tumwater to win the game, but we'll get to them in a little bit, Jake. Hang on. Okay, we're almost there. We're going to stop at 1A here real quick. The only 12-man participant bracket here, Matt, and the top two teams are here in Royal and Seton Catholic. I had a chance to see Seton Catholic against Montesano, and Royal and Cashmere was really reflective of what it was in the regular season. Despite Cashmere growing a little bit and only losing that one game to Royal early in the year. I mean, Royal City is just producing, some of the best football you can possibly see in the state of Washington. Seton, on the other hand, I mean, they took on a feisty Montesano team, a team that was able to move the ball fairly well at times. They did a good job of mixing in the screen game. And, I don't want to pick on a single player or anything like that, but the quarterback for Montesano had a couple of opportunities early to hit some guys deep and just kind of overthrew it. You wonder if maybe there were some jitters a little bit there, but both teams really kind of started slow in the scoring column there. I mean, Seton ended up taking a lead, and it was 14-0 at half. Montesano came out a little bit more motivated. They started to throw the kitchen sink at them a little bit. Some water boy play calling, a little reverse flea flicker pass, ended up getting a touchdown. And ultimately, the difference in the game, Seton Catholic's weapons, their running back, Jacob Williams, he's a kind of guy that just seeks out contact. He's like a homing missile. If someone's coming, he's not trying to run around you. He's trying to run directly through you. And Colorado School of Mines is getting a good one. Matt King and I were on the call in that game. And, they're the fourth guy at wide receiver for Seton Catholic is just super talented. Whoever you want to call that, whether it's Teddy Wasorick or whether it's Xavier Crank, and then you got Joe Calaram, a West Point Army commit, and you got Riker Ruelas, school record holder for wide receiver. There's just so many options on that offense. I just wonder if they have the defense to keep up with Royal. Dylan Allred is such a good quarterback. I mean, what percentage chance do you give Seton Catholic in this game? And don't say 0, because I don't think it's that.
I wouldn't say 0. There's always a puncher's chance. I would say maybe 10 to 15%. It's like, the biggest thing with Royal is the only team that can beat Royal is Royal.
Sure.
If they make the mistakes and Seton Catholic can pounce on them, then yeah, I could see that percentage going up. But I just, I don't see a Royal making those mistakes. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's super tough to take on a team of this type of caliber. And like, we talked about throughout the year, Royal just, they have the water, they've got the school lunch system. They've got the footballs handed to the boys at birth. There's just a lot of things working in their favor in Royal, and they're more than just, all red, they're a complete football team on both sides of the ball. It's going to be a tremendous task for Seton Catholic. They lost to Royal 42-0 last year, had to take a long trip to do it as well. Their goal this year was to play in week 14, and here they are, and they get a chance to take on the team that gave them that 42-0 loss. I ended up picking Royal preseason, as did you, I believe, and I would be shocked if anybody but Royal, I guess, anybody like Justin who picked Montesano, and then all the Seton Catholic people that entered the tournament that picked Seton Catholic. I honestly think that everybody's thinking Royal wins this game, and I'm not going to, go off the rails here and say, there's no, Seton Catholic's going to win the game. They're going to shock the world. I wouldn't be surprised if there were in a fourth quarter situation, though, at the beginning where this is within a score. I wouldn't be shocked about that. But I'm still going to go with Royal in this one. I would probably lean 38-21.
Yeah, I've got it at 42-14. I hope that the game is closer than I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Just for the sheer fact that, if Royal is going to win this game, which they probably will, I want it to be, an exciting game. I don't want it to be a game where Seton Catholic, turns around and just, and it feels like, like they just, I want this game to be close. I want the team that loses this game to actually, I want this to hurt. I want them to, I want it to be really, really close. That's all I can say. I just want it to be close.
Those same hurt feelings can be either feelings of relief for the winner or feeling of just complete joy and jubilation, and it would be awesome to see a fourth quarter last possession type game between these two teams, and if you got a horse to ride, man, Jacob Williams is the one to do it. And this is going to be his last game in a Seton Catholic uniform. So why not give him 30, 40 carries if he can handle it and see what comes out of it. I don't know which team has the better weapons overall, but I've seen Seton a couple of times this year, and I'm pretty impressed. The problem is they can't afford to start slow against Royal. They got to come out and they got to get something going, and they got to build some confidence right away. So
absolutely.
All right. Well, Danny says the football fan in me wants Royal and Seton to be close, but yeah. Coach in me wants running clock so Royal clears out of the locker room fast. Wow, what a selfish thing to say, Danny. Justin says, give Jacob 50 carries. Honestly, I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see a lot of Wildcat from Joe Calarame, but I think Gesser versus Allred might actually be like, the difference in this ball game in some ways. I think that if Gesser can make some good throws and some good plays and utilize his weapons, we're gonna have a ball game here. So I'm excited for this one. All right. Anything to add for 1A?
Heck no.
All right. So let's get to the next one here that everyone says is going to be not close. Tumwater against Anacortes, the rematch here. And, Brian Leveski's not with us. He might be super quiet. I don't know. But he has been banging the drum all season long for Tumwater. And said, book it, right? Book it, all caps, right? I got to be honest with you. I'm starting to lean in his direction here after seeing how good they have been on the defensive side of the ball. I knew they could score, Matt. I knew the offense had a lot of weapons and had a lot of misdirection and can run the wing tee to perfection. But if their defense is going out and pitching shutouts, you really do have basically 1% chance to win the football game. The good thing for Anacortes is they've done it. Tumwater came into the championship game last year having scored a lot of points. Now their defense wasn't quite as stout as it was this year, but Anacortes put up a record amount, and they have a large portion of that team back this year, minus their quarterback. I mean, that's really going to be the difference in the ball game, I think, this time around here. But again, let's go to percentages. What percentage do you give Anacortes going into this game?
30.
Okay, that's generous.
I think that I don't think it's as clear cut as people think. I think that Tumwater is a lot better than they were last year defensively, and they have been chomping at the bit to get back to this game to win this championship, to right the wrong that they see from last year. But like you said, this is an Anacortes team that brings back almost everything except their quarterback. These guys know how to win. Don't put it past. We can't sleep on them. This is how upsets happen. I don't think it's going to be an upset. I have Tumwater winning 35-24, but I don't think this game is as clear cut as people think it's going to be.
No, I mean, and I think that that's the one thing that I don't think Tumwater as a team or a locker room is carrying the mindset that they're going to just go into this game and stomp out Anacortes. The kids themselves, they know that they need to show up and they want to go out there and they want to take it to these guys. They're not going out there thinking that they're just going to be handed a state championship trophy. It's everybody around Tumwater, mainly people in the comment section and, media pundits, newspapers and stuff. I really think that Anacortes is well built to take on Tumwater because I think that their offense is dynamic enough to score enough points to keep it close, to keep it within the fourth quarter. I obviously don't think that Anacortes is I don't think that they're the better team on both sides of the ball combined going into this game. All right. I think that they're going to need some things to kind of work in their favor throughout the game. Tumwater started a little slow against Archbishop, but once they got going, man, they got going and they didn't stop. Archbishop just didn't have anything on the offensive side of the ball. I feel it's different with Anacortes. And Justin Ports has done a phenomenal job year 4 with Anacortes. And most people know that, that program was literally in the ashes. It was
dead. Yep. It was
and
dead.
didn't exist. Mm-hmm. And, coming out and getting the amount of guys to come out to the program to buy into the off-season training program, one of the better stories. And you really got to hand it to Tumwater as well. They've been really close the last few seasons. They lost that title game to Linden in 21. I mean, I know it's kind of asinine to say that losing to Linden's kind of a shocker. I thought Tumwater was the better team that year going into that game. I didn't think Linden was going to win. They ended up winning, though, and capturing the state championship. And I think Tumwater had like a look in the mirror moment at that point, and they just kind of turned the program around under Willie Garrow, and they've done a great job. I think that they're one of the better teams, obviously, and they got great coaching staff all around. You know, they get the guys in the hallways out on the field believing they've got 19 running backs. You know, that's a 1A roster or 2B roster for some cities. You know, they got tons of dudes, and I'm not saying it's like David versus Goliath, like everyone's making it out to be. I don't think it's anything quite like that. I could go on about this game forever, but this was the game that was voted the most interesting game that people were most excited about seeing. So I don't think everybody sees it as clear cut as maybe some do.
See, the interesting thing is, of the games, like, this is probably the one that I like. There's so many great storylines coming into this game, but I'd put this one 6 out of 6 for most interesting, in my opinion. And it's nothing against either of the teams. I just think that the other games are much more intriguing. I just, you know, all these games are going to be fun to watch. But
All right, well, now it's time to actually pick it here. You said you went Tumwater in this one. I chose this game in the preseason. These two teams to meet. I picked Anacortes to win the championship over Tumwater. I picked Anacortes to win the championship going into this bracket. And I'm not veering off of it at all. I got Anacortes 34-31.
All right.
So, by the way, that's not bad, right? Preseason, right? Wilbur Crescent-Keller in the championship game. Seton Catholic Royal picked that game. Tumwater Anacortes picked that game. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I about how it went. I got receipts too.
I was gonna say I still have 5 chances for my preseason picks to win state championships. The only one that is not still alive is Lake Stevens. But
that's right. I had exactly. I'm with you. Yes.
Yep.
But in the 3A for my preseason in this next matchup, I had Bellevue winning, not O'Dea. But I have O'Dea winning in my bracket. So we'll see. Justin says he will eat his hat if Anacortes wins. I'd rather see a red solo cup involved, I think.
If Anacortes wins, I will stuff a 5-liter burrito. No, stop.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm fine being wrong, by the way. I got nothing. I don't care. I mean, bold men make bold decisions, right, Matt? I mean, this is just the way it goes, you know? Fortune favors the bold. That's brisk, baby. You know? Let's go to 3A real quick. Let's talk about this next matchup. I'm surprised, honestly, here, Matt, that this didn't get enough play. This game to me is very intriguing. I know that we're always treated to, it seems at least always treated to, a Bellevue versus somebody championship. O'Dea's been here recently close, but Eastside Catholic has really been like that other team to constantly move and play against Bellevue. For a little bit there, Yelm was in the conversation, rightfully so. But man, these two programs have been near or at the top for quite some time. And I was really looking forward to seeing this game kind of a little bit higher up on the intrigue list. You know, Bellevue comes in with arguably the best overall team in the state. I wouldn't be remiss to think that they could win an outright tournament. I think that they're really well balanced on both sides of the ball, and I think they coach extremely well also. O'Dea needed a little bit of a miracle last week with a really deep pass to Bonchero, who caught it double coverage and somehow got loose and ended up winning the game when they were down. They really didn't play great against Eastside Catholic, and I figured Eastside Catholic would come back after their first meeting and they would give them a much tougher game, which proved to be true. It's so tough to beat either of those teams when you play them twice in the same season. You know, Bellevue, on the other hand, I mean, they had a much better second half than Roosevelt did. First half was pretty tight between those teams, but Bellevue was able to run the ball, and they were able to limit Dalton Anderson and company for the most part during that game. And I'm really interested to get your take on this one and how you see this game playing out and what kind of a percentage chance that you think O'Dea's got here.
Well, to be fair, I think this is a 50-50 game. And I think that the reason why this game didn't get as many votes on the intrigue thing is because if you really look at this game, just from what it's worth, we know exactly what we're going to get in this game. We know Bellevue's going to come out with a wing T. We know that O'Day is going to come out with a power rush. We know that both teams are going to play great defense. They're both going to want to control the clock. We know that it's going to be very, very low scoring. And we know that, it's going to be really close. It's probably going to be a one possession game. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's one of the reasons why, for me, I'm super excited to watch this game.
Oh, yeah.
Not just for the fact that it's two Washington State heavyweights going against each other. We're talking like, Tyson Holyfield back in the day. We're talking like two heavyweights going at it. And you look at it and you just go, oh, it's Bellevue, it's O'Day, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, most of the people who are doing the him and the haw are the ones who are jealous that their team doesn't have a chance to get past them, And like I said, Eastside Catholic has pretty much been that team that's been the third fiddle, right, to these two other programs. Roosevelt's kind of on the bridge, right? They're about ready to cross. I think Roosevelt's going to take some serious strides under Sam Adams if he continues to stick with the program, because they've already got kids wanting to come play for them. We'll say that, Yelm's out of the conversation now in 4A. I think that you could be looking at these four teams playing each other fairly often, and just kind of whoever's got the best day, the best 48 minutes in them. The thing that I like about this game is that it's old school football. They're both going right at each other downhill. There's really nothing tricky about it. If there was a team that was trickier in this game, I'd say Bellevue has a chance to be a little trickier. I think O'Day is just so by the book. They're so downhill. They want to work the edges, and they're going to rely on their defense. They really want to feast on, and they want to let loose with their pass rush. They're going to try to win their best at first and second down here in this one. And I think that they're going to live with the results of what happens on third down. If they can get Bellevue in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and force Bellevue to think about throwing the ball a little bit, Bellevue does have the ability to sling it. But O'Day's got cover guys all over the field, and they've got a great pass rush. I love the styles of this game here. And it's just whoever does what they like to do a little bit better than the other team, What better venue, too, than Husky Stadium for them to figure that out? Bellevue just won the title last year in a super low-scoring game. We know what their defense is capable of, Matt.
Well, and I'll tell you, too, personally, I'm excited for these two teams to play because there's this Italian place that's right down the road that closes at 9 tomorrow night that I'm really excited to try. And at the 7 o'clock kickoff, I'm fairly certain I'm still going to be able to get in there and get dinner before it closes. So that's one of the reasons I'm excited for Bellevue and O'Day to match up tomorrow night.
Well, if we look at the bracket here, Matt, you and I are very close. We're 1 point difference. Me and somebody who's named Untitled are tied at the top of the bracket challenge here. We do have different picks, though. He has Bellevue, or she, and I have O'Day.
Which one are we talking about? 3A?
3A, yep. Mm-hmm.
3A.
Yeah, it says Untitled.
Oh, yeah. I think it's Steve. It could be nice. It could be Dylan. It could be Dilly. It could be Steve. Yeah, there's a couple of
Yeah, you've got Bellevue. I've got O'Day. Seems like most of the bracket near the top's got Bellevue. O'Day is like the next most popular option as well. So Matt King's got Bellevue versus Eastside Catholic. Wow, good job, Matt. No, but yeah, this is one of the brackets that I felt pretty good about coming into it here. So at the end of this one, I got O'Day. That's what I had preseason. That's what I had before we went into the playoffs. Preseason, I picked Bellevue to win the championship against O'Day. So, either way, I look like a genius, right?
And a Bellevue win would eliminate any chance you have to win the overall bracket challenge, too. So.
Ooh, so I really need O'Day here, huh? That's what you're saying? Uh-huh. Well, I'm sticking with him. That's the only way it's happening, right? I can't change my pick now. So we're going to do that. We're going to go with O'Day winning this one. Sorry, Danny, by the way. I'm thinking 21-20, like something extra point-ish related. Who knows? 2-point conversion, go for the win, fail, who knows?
I've got it 21-17 Bellevue.
Okay, so we're in the same neighborhood though for score. I like that here. All right, we got one class to talk about here, and then open forum. We can close it out, go to bed, do whatever we want. So can't hate the efficiency, says Danny. Yes, correct. Cannot hate efficiency. Efficiency is good. It is just
especially
that.
especially if it gets me that Italian food tomorrow night. I will love the efficiency.
Are we talking like Buca di Beppo Italian or Olive Garden Italian or?
Oh no, not Olive Garden Italian. No. There's a couple like legit Italian places up here, just a couple blocks
La
away from where I'm at.
Trattoria. That sounds good. I like it. All right, let's talk 4A real quick here, Matt. Now, I don't know where people think that this game really is on the intriguing barometer, but I'm super excited for this game. I really think that this could end up being like the best game out of all of them heading into it. And I know that we're hyping up every game as if it's going to be the best of the tournament, but this game literally does have like come down to the wire written all over it. Cam is taking on Sumner. Both of these teams had to survive last week. They were both tested. Camas ends up getting by Gonzaga Prep 28-20. Sumner and Chiawana do overtime, and Sumner
triple
wins
overtime.
it. Yeah, triple overtime, 37-31. You hate saying that a game was the state championship in front of the state championship, man, especially when the number one seed wasn't even involved in it. But, geez, like that Chiawana team, they are so gutsy and so good, but Sumner just never gave up. They kept coming. They executed when they needed to down the stretch to keep the game alive. And then a missed field goal in the first half of that triple OT ends up coming back to haunt Chiawana, and Sumner ends up making one of their own to win it. What a ball game, man. Those two teams both deserve to be playing for a state championship, quite honestly.
Absolutely. If there's any way we can get Chiawana and Gonzaga Prep over here on Saturday afternoon for a third place game, let's make it happen, guys, because I'd love to watch those two teams play. And unfortunately, with the league setups, we're not going to have any non-league games for GSL or MSCC teams for the next few years. So yeah, the only way we're going to get it's in the playoffs. But man, I'd love to watch those two teams play. But let's not take away though from the teams that are playing.
No,
Camas and Sumner. My God, it's like what we've been saying all year. Like there's so many good teams in 4A. Like you could look at any of these matchups, even going back to the quarterfinal round, you could put some of those teams in here and just say this is great matchup, but this is the best matchup. This is the absolute best matchup we could get, and it's going to be the last one we have for the season. I think I have it going to overtime. I have Camas winning 17-14 in overtime. I think it's going to be a game that everybody who is at the building, there's going to be, however many people are going to be there, but there'll be 80,000 people that'll say I was at that game, because I think it's going to be that good.
It'll be a phenomenal game, and just to touch base on the Camas Gonzaga Prep game, I saw that game when, was on the call for that game. And, it was incredible to watch Camas come back late in that fourth quarter when it looked like that everything was just sucked out of the hot air balloon.
Yep. And that's the other thing too. Camas and Sumner both came back to win these games. They didn't have leads and held on to win. They both had to come back from big deficits to win these games. So it's, they're both just peaking at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, Chase McGee for Camas was the difference maker in the game. He ended up having an extremely impressive catch where he went up over the defender and caught it and managed to get a foot down in the end zone before being driven out of the back of it. And then he, burnt a corner on 3rd and 11 on the next drive to help them get the lead by 1. And then a bubble screen pass, caught him in the right formation, caught him in the right look. It was a one-on-one look. Gonzaga Prep was blitzing up the middle. And yeah, I mean, a house call, you score 21 points in the fourth quarter, essentially to win the game. Gonzaga Prep controlled that game, Matt. A lot of people that watched it probably felt that Gonzaga Prep was the better team 3 quarters through the game, and Unfortunately for them, they just couldn't finish it off. And a lot of people thought going into that game that they were going to utilize their rushing attack the whole time to win the game. Camas did great against the run overall. It was Gonzaga Prep's ability to get the right coverage looks. They got a lot of cover 1, a lot of cover 0, and they were able to move the ball down the field. And they're going to be back. They're a team that was fairly young. I think that they're going to be one of the front runners to win the state championship next season. So Camas did a great job coming back in that ball game. Sumner just finds a way to win, man. I mean, they realistically, they could be 13-0 as well. You know, you could have a battle of undefeateds here with the way that they played Wesleyan earlier this season. I'm so intrigued by this matchup here. And I think Jake Davidson at quarterback is as lethal as anybody, but he's got to let the game come to him. Can't try to force the action. Once he settled in last week against Gonzaga Prep, he was able to find some targets down the field.
Yep. Yeah, 100% agreed. It's this game, man. It's just there. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say other than I'm so excited for this game.
Oh, 100%. I had Lake Stevens winning this game here, which is probably why I'm almost in dead last. I'm not even close to dead last, actually. I had Lake Stevens and Camas in this game here. So I got Camas correct. I had them here. And since I picked Lake Stevens, I can't possibly do that. I got to pick somebody different. I think Camas is going to be the team that wins this one. I think it'll be super close, though. And nothing would surprise me, though, Matt. I mean, with Sumner here, I think Sumner is as good as anybody in 4A. It's just going to come down to a turnover, a penalty, you know, something real small, but something real major. Oh, on mute.
And like I said, I've got this game going to overtime, so I think it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, Mill City will win. Well, that's Jake saying Camas because they're the paper makers. Paper Mill, get it?
Mill.
No.
I get it. Ha, 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 ha.
Yes, the paper makers. They make paper in Camas.
I've driven through Camas once. I really liked it.
Well, they actually travel to Hillsboro and they make computer chips and software, and they engineer things in Camas now. So different type of Camas, you know.
They're branching out.
Not the Camas that our dads grew up with. So there we go, man. I'm excited. I had preseason. Neither of my preseason picks are here. I had Kennedy Catholic and Lake Stevens in the championship game. So, you know, I'll admit I'm wrong when I brag about being right. So that's okay. Who did you have opposite of Lake Stevens preseason? Do you remember?
I had Camas.
Okay. So you look good, right? I mean, you're right there. You're in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I think I had Lake Stevens winning 4A. I had Onalaska losing 2B, and I had Nia Bay losing 1B. Other than that, all my teams are in.
So
go.
So Justin asked me a question. He sent me a message and said, "Hey, if you were betting, what percentage would you give all 1 seeds winning their games?" And I was like, I can't remember. It was real low. Like 20, like I don't know, I think 20% might actually be pretty high, you know, but I was thinking somewhere around 20% likelihood that all the 1 seeds end up winning it. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's got to be a quote upset somewhere here.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. I don't think all the 1 seeds are going to win. I do think I want to go on a soapbox really quick. I want to go on a rant. So, one of the things that we've gotten used to as a football community in the state of Washington is the brackets are released, and we're like, "Oh, that's the worst thing I've ever seen." Oh, rah, 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 rah. And we just hammer these seeding committees, just absolutely hammer them. And then we get to the state championship games, and we're like, "Well, they obviously got this wrong." Blah 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 blah. It's number 7 Mount Baker and number 11 Linden Christian playing in a state. Yeah, blah 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 blah. We always get on them. This year, I want to see everybody get on there, and I want them to give the seeding committees the credit, because let's look at the brackets. 4A, 1 versus 2. 3A, 1 versus 2. 2A, 1 versus 2. 1A, 1 versus 2. 2B, 1 versus 3. 1B, 1 versus 2. The seating committees freaking nailed it this year. Great job, guys. Good work.
Amen. That's actually well said. 100%. I don't think there was any doubt that these teams were the best too.
Yep.
I mean, you could say, like I said about Napavine, after proving it on the field, we could easily suggest that they're the second best team, at least in 2B, you know? Eastside Catholic was very close to beating O'Day, but that's not asinine. We're talking about the 3 seed here, you know? Versus splitting hairs with like Lakes and Decatur, you know, and you know, even I'll be guilty of it on Alaska. You know, I fell in love with the Loggers down the stretch and was wrong about that. You know, if anything, Freeman was underseeded a little bit. Freeman has had the best game against Okanagan. They shut out the buzzsaw known as Onalaska, you know. But yeah, the seating committees, I think, did a fantastic job getting it right, you know. And gosh, you know, the only thing that I would nitpick about is that maybe Meade was underseeded at 11, you know. I don't know.
You think about the quality of those teams. Now, I think the thing, if we're going to nitpick on anything, it's got to be that, you know, Arlington and Lake Stevens were flipped. I think that's my nitpick. But other than that, great job, guys. Great job. Guys and girls, whoever was on there, great job.
100%. 100%. Well, did the Kraken end up winning today? They were up 3-0 on the Islanders.
I think so. I think they won 5 something. I don't know. The game was finishing as I was going through the airport.
Well, they've been playing pretty good.
They've been playing better. This you know, sometimes these road trips can be. Oh yeah, they won 5-2. 5-2. But yeah, they sometimes these road trips can be you know, good positive experiences. It's one of those reasons why you like to see, you know, you take your basketball team to, you know, from on the east side, you take them to the west side for a weekend and play a couple games. You know, you get those bonding, building experiences and team, and it can, you know, it'll help down the road. And I think that, you know, there's lots more. There are, when it comes to the Kraken specifically, there are a lot bigger issues that they need to address here in the off season. But I mean, I think that they're on the right path. I think they have the right coach. You know, even though Dan Bilesma, I'm programmed to hate him as a Philadelphia Flyers fan. I think he's the right coach, and you know, I think that he's got a good idea, a good system. Obviously, he's won 2 Stanley Cups as a coach. You know, he's got a great system, and they just need to work their ways to get the players they need to get that to get that system to come to fruition. And the biggest thing is they need a high-end goal scorer. That's you know, they're missing out on that top tier talent that's kind of holding them back from taking it to the next level and being a true contender in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, I was just catching a little bit of it before I walked out the door to go set up to stream Ari Long and Seton Catholic, and they had just gone up 3-0. You know, I mean, they're a different team if they start fast. The goaltender, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm not super like in depth with hockey. I'll be completely honest with you, but he was on a pretty good streak, only allowing 2 goals less for quite a while here out of the last 10 games or something like that. I think he had like. They were tied for the longest streak in the league at like a week ago. So
who was it? Oh, yeah, it's Joey Decord. Yeah, Joey Decord, great goaltender. You know, he's someone that, you know, even the last few years, he really wasn't that. I mean, he was more of an AHL type player, and then he came up. He took advantage of his opportunities, and he's become the number 1 guy. I mean, it stinks that Grubauer is has fallen out of favor as much as he has, considering the contract that he has. But yeah, Decord has proven himself to be a very serviceable number 1 goalie.
I am really, really excited for this weekend. I can't get a chance to head up though. I have basketball on Saturday with my son. And then, I work till 4 tomorrow. By the time I got up there, I'd be able to get maybe to the 7 o'clock game, which will be the 3A game. I'd like to see that one, to be honest with you, but I got to come back and I got to be at work at 6 a.m. on Saturday, so that would not be ideal, you know. But I got NFHS Network. Believe it or not, even me, I do pay for that. So
me too.
So I will be watching it. Hopefully, Matt knows what he's doing up there and can get us all set up, and we can enjoy that game, because I think all the games, to be honest with you. But we might have asked, I might have asked earlier, but I just want to clarify for anybody who wasn't here, which of the 6 games are you most excited to watch?
So, as a media folk, an unbiased media person, I'm really excited to see that Camas Sumner game. That's the one that really I'm very excited for. Just to be able to sit back with my unbiased hat on and just enjoy a football game. I think that's the one. But when I throw my biased hat on, I'm super excited to watch the 1B game tomorrow with Liberty Christian, Wilbercrest and Keller. I've been around the Liberty Christian program a lot the last 6 years, and Coach Lukens is just he's a good friend. He's a great friend. He's a great person, and I'm super excited for him and the kids and the program. It's just it's awesome, and also just Tri-Cities team. We root against each other during the year, but when we get to the playoffs, Tri-City strong, and we're really excited to see how the boys can do. And like I said, they're staying in the hotel, and I've seen a couple of them up in the hallways, just getting really excited to get going tomorrow. And coaches were having a nice relaxing evening, just chatting around. Good to check in with Coach and just shoot the breeze for a few minutes while I was recovering from my long travel day. And just it's gonna be fun, and I'm excited too, because it's not supposed to rain tomorrow, so I'm planning to be on the sidelines for that game, and it's gonna be a blast. I'm looking forward to it for those guys in that program in our city.
Sounds like a lot of fun, man. I know what you mean. Seeing Mark Morris in the championship game against Linden, a couple of years ago, and Ari Long against Linden in the semis the year before. It makes it pretty meaningful when you see these teams all year long, and you create relationships with everybody in the community, and you get a chance to see them wear their heart on their sleeve and battle it out for state championship and forever going into the history books, and being that neither of those teams are there in football, I would say that I'm excited for Seton Catholic, having watched them a couple times this year. They're a program on the rise, taking steps in the right direction. Can they win a championship? I don't know. It's going to be tough. I would like to believe that they have a shot. I'm excited to see them play. But the game I'm most excited about seeing is probably Anacortes and Tumwater. Honestly, I side with the poll that I put out on Sunday that said that 41 or 44%, I can't remember, were most looking forward to that game there. And I just want to end the show, I think, probably by saying, the reason why there's just such an opposite end of the spectrum with these two teams, like the size, the location, how the programs are built, and and also the fact that there seems to be some bad blood here, like not necessarily like they don't like each other. I think there's a lot of mutual respect between both the teams, but I think that like the public has kind of like pinned these two teams up against one another. Yep. And it's no fault of Anacortes's, in my opinion. Yep. They just went out and won last year, right? Mm-hmm. But the storyline has been that Tumwater took that loss so poorly and so personally that they had to put pictures of the score up around the school to motivate. Now, will that prove to be a successful motivational technique? It may very well. It could have paid off dividends, for them. But that to me is like the big underlying story in that game. And with the way that Tumwater has just dominated everybody this year, does it just continue, or is Anacortes still the team to beat? They had that loss to Archbishop earlier. Tumwater just beats them 42-0. You're like, Tumwater beat WF West 52-0. Anacortes just beat them 35-13. You can box score watch and you can prognosticate all you want, but none of that matters when those two teams line up across from one another. And I'm real interested to see how it plays out. Is it going to be super chippy? Is it going to be officiated pretty tightly? I think there's a lot of storylines within the actual game itself, and it really intrigues me. I don't know if it's going to be the closest game that we get or not, but that's the game I'm most interested in figuring out how it plays out, just because of the storyline build up to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. This is my first state championship weekend, even going back to the Dome days, and I'm so excited to be up here and get to experience these, and we're going to be doing keeping stats for every game and writing up some short blurbs after each, and then just taking in the experience and writing about some of the state tournament experiences. And I'm planning to post a lot of pictures and try to do some interactive type stuff. As you can see, I brought my microphone, so we may do I may do something during the some of the breaks, and just kind of trying to get the engagement up and get folks ready and prepared and excited. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And my final thing for the night would be just a big thank you and shout out to Mrs. Evans back home holding down the fort and giving me the support to be able to be up here and do what I love to do. And
amen to that.
Absolutely appreciative of her. And thanks, babe. Love you.
Yep. The wives are super important in allowing us to have the ability to come and lock ourselves into a room and talk sports for a while. That used to be like punishable by death, I think, at some point in human history. So I'm super happy. All right, one last thing real quick, guys. Thank you for everybody who has supported us throughout the year. We don't ask for anything, but you guys to just pay attention and watch and hold us accountable and pat us on the back when we give you guys something to think about that you hadn't thought about before. Whether we're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. We're just happy to be out here and talking sports each and every week for everybody. Hopefully we can get back together next Wednesday after all this is said and done, talk about, some teams that hoisted the state championship trophies this weekend. And we would love to catch up with some folks that won those trophies, probably, if we have some guests that are willing to come on. It'd be a lot of fun. And then second, best of luck to everybody competing. Everybody drive up safely, get home safely, be responsible, have fun, be respectful. But most importantly, just thank you for allowing us the ability to get out here and watch you guys play and compete. And hopefully everything comes out the way you expect it. And hopefully you can be modest in victory and gracious in defeat.
And if you're coming up for the 2A game, make sure to account for parking. There's going to be a Husky men's basketball game that starts at 1 as well. So parking is going to be even more tight than it would be before. So make sure that you're factoring that into your travel time.
You think there's going to be a lot of people out watching that game?
I know of one who's probably going to be there.
All right. Nice. Cool, man. Who are they playing?
UCLA. No, USC.
Okay. All right. Nice.
The Big Ten matchup.
Yeah. I'm interested. Let me know how Danny Sprinkle looks there. And, I'm excited to see I'm excited to see how the season goes for them. And
we'll see how the 2B game goes. I may sneak out a little early to go watch that one, but we'll see.
Yeah, no worries. All right, everybody in the comment section, you guys have been the same contributors all year long. Greatly appreciate you. You feel free to reach out to Matt or I anytime. We're here for you, and we're going to continue to provide all of this coverage. I know I'm going to be doing some basketball with Jody Nalen, and we're probably going to be doing a non-live podcast where we figure out how to actually upload one to Spotify or Apple or something like that. But we're going to be talking some basketball throughout the year. Matt, you are, of course, welcome to join that. Seton Catholic versus Annie Wright looks like the early game, I think, will happen in 1A. So interested to see how things go. But, man, Bremerton, whoo, Jalen Davis is amazing, man. He had a triple-double against Black Hills yesterday. So I'm
man, you can't put Annie Wright Rainier Beach too far out of your mind, man.
No. Dude, that's a big win. Anytime you beat Rainier Beach in basketball, it's meaningful for a 1A school in Annie, right? Absolutely, yeah.
I will tell you that I was about half an hour away from getting to go watch Rainier Beach and Seattle Prep tonight. But if the plane had not been delayed the second time, we would have been on schedule. But
Sons of bitches.
Wasn't meant to happen.
Ugh. All right. Well, Matt, thanks so much for taking time out of your night to talk shop with me. As always, enjoy the Comfort Inn or wherever you're at. I don't know, Days Inn, Holiday Inn Express.
Silver Cloud in the U District.
There we go. All right. So, yep. You know where Matt's located at if you want to come and paste some bulletin board material on his literal bulletin board. So
absolutely, yeah. You know where to come find me.
He's
I'm not
right
going to tell you my room number, but you can come find me.
He's right above Wilbur Creston and Keller. So
probably below them, but
yeah. All right, man. Thanks so much. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back hopefully next week, and we'll talk about how maybe I'm the all-time champion, maybe how Matt's the all-time champion. One of us might win it. Both of us might not, but we appreciate it anyway. Thanks, guys.
Neither of us are going to.
Yeah, probably not.